In this video I am going to give you a short biography of John Keats. Before starting this video, if you want to watch this video in Hindi, please check link below in description. John Keats was an English romantic poet. He was one of the main figures of the second generation of romantic poets, along with Lord Byron and Percy Bysshe Shelley. Despite his works having been in publication for only 4 years before his death from tuberculosis at the age of 25, although his poems were not generally well received by critics during his lifetime, his reputation grew after his death, and by the end of the 9th century, he had become one of the most beloved of all English poets. The poetry of Keats is characterized by sensual imagery, most notably in the series of odes. This is typical of romantic poets, as they aim to accentuate extreme emotion through an emphasis on natural imagery. Early life. John Keats was born in Moorgate, London on 3 Keats and his wife Frances Jennings. In his childhood he was sent in Dame school. His parents were unable to afford Eton or Harrow, so Enfield CLOs to his grandparents' house. In the family's atmosphere, Keats developed an interest in classic and history which would stay with him throughout his short life. John Keats becomes the friend of the headmaster's son Charles Cowden Clarke, who introduces him to Renaissance literature including Tasso Ponce and Chapman's translation. However, at 3 he began focusing his energy on reading and study, winning his first academic prize in 89. In April 84, when Keats was aged 8 years old, his father died from a skull fracture suffered when he fell from his horses while returning from a visit to Keats and his brother George at school. His mother Frances remarried 2 months later, but he left his new husband soon forward, and children went to live with grandmother's house Alice Jennings in Willagay of Edmonton. In March 8, when Keats was 4 years old, his mother died of tuberculosis, leaving the children in the casuistry of their grandmother. She appointed T.O. guardians Richard O'Brien, John and Dell to take care of them. That autumn Keats left Crickle's School to apprentice with Thomas Hammond, a surgeon and apothecary. Having finished apprenticeship with Hammond, Keats registered as medical student at Guy's Hospital and began study there on October 8. It seems at this point Keats had a genuine desire to become a doctor. However, Keats' training up increasingly ambivalent about his medical career, he felt that he faced a stark choice. He has written his first extant poem, An Imitation of Ponce, in 84 when he was 19. Now strongly drawn by ambition, inspired by fellow poets such as Leigh Hunt and Lord Byron, and beleaguered by family financial cries, he suffered period of depression. In 86, Keats received his apothecary's license, which made him eligible to practice as an apothecary, physician and surgeon, but before the end of the year he announced to his guardian that he was resolved to be poet, not a surgeon. Although he continued his work on training at Guy's, Keats devoted more and more time to the study of literature, experimenting with verse forms, particularly the sonnet. In May 86, Leigh Hunt agreed to publish the sonnet, O Solitude, in his magazine, The Examiner, a leading liberal magazine of the day. 5 months later came the publication of Poems, the first volume of Keats' verse, which included I Stood Tiptoe and Sleep and Poetry Bow. Influenced by Hunt, his work includes On First Looking Into Chapman's Home, a Ode on Grec, an Ode to Psyche, Ode to a Nightingale, Ode on a Melancholy. In 89, Keats wrote The Eve of St. Agnes, La Boletaine, Unschmercy, Hyperion, Lamia. Keats befriended Isabella Jones in May 87 while on holiday in the village of Bo Peep near Hastings. She is described as beautiful and talented and widely read not of the top flight of society, yet financial secure, an enigmatic figure who would become a part of Keats' circles. On 3rd of April 89, Braun and her widowed mother moved into the other half of the Case Wentworth Place, and Keats and Braun were able to see each other every day. Keats began to lend Braun books, such as Dante's Inferno, and they would read together. He gave her the love sonnet Bright Star as a declaration. It was a work in progress which he continued at until the last months of his life, and the poem came to be associated with their relationship. All his desires were concentrated on Fanny. Darkness, disease, depression surrounded him, reflected in such poem. The Eve of Antigens and La Belle Merci, where love and death both stalk one of in man. Why hundred of notes he wrote Fanny Brown. In one of his many hundreds of notes and letters, Keats wrote to Brown on 3rd of October 89, "My love has made me selfish. I cannot exist without you. I am forgetful of everything but seeing you again. My life seems to stop there. I see no further. You have absorbed me." Tuberculosis took hold, and he was advised by his doctors to move to a warmer climate. In September 82, Keats left for Rome, knowing he would probably never see Brown again. After leaving, he felt unable to write to her or read her letters. Although he did correspond with her mother, Keats reached Rome on the 4th of November, by which time any hope of the warmer climate he sought had disappeared. It is now a museum and C.L. Keats and Helley Memorial House. John Keats died in Rome on 23rd of February 82. His body was buried in the city's Protestant cemetery. His last request was to be placed under a tombstone bearing no name or date, only the words, "Here lies one whose name was writ in water." Evan and Brown erected the stone, which under a relief of a lyre with broken strings, includes the epitaph,